Shane Cashman's article came out, and I guess Tim was waiting till this article dropped before he responded. Okay. God, this is gonzo journalism, guys. Cashman, Eliza Bleu, and the Perpetual Trauma Machine. That sounds like a movie title. Or Eliza Bleu and the PR firm. On what we talk about when we talk about abuse, survival, big tech, and unfortunately, at this point, all people care about is the censorship and maybe secondarily her lying. Here's Eliza out in the snow. To seem relatable, I don't know. The cold hard truth. Okay, this article starts with a couple of paragraphs that I don't find to be necessary. Talking about a doomsday clock again, that's kind of irrelevant to Eliza. I'm just gonna scroll to the part where he starts talking about Eliza. In the past few months, I've had this strange opportunity to speak with people at the exact moment when they're trending. Okay, kind of unrelated, but I get it. It's flowery. Blue gained notoriety over the last 3 years as a public advocate for survivors of human trafficking. She also said that she is a survivor of trafficking herself. Blah, blah, blah. She's in articles, podcasts. Her profile exploded when she did a spaces with Elon. Elon spoke with her directly. She emailed him solutions. Elon didn't ask for the solutions, she just sent them. She was proactive, guys. I mean, she's been proactive about everything she's gone after in her life. I mean, you listen to how she went after the World Star Hip Hop CEO on his personal Instagram. So this is a woman who is not afraid to ask for what she wants, clearly. Elon had liked some of her tweets. She was apparently one of the rare people on Twitter around whom various political factions could rally. Did we see anybody like super liberal? Maybe that Katie Herzog girl who interviewed her. Yeah, okay, I'll say that's fair. She kind of reached across the political aisle as a libertarian herself. A And then we learned she's one of those libertarians that has certain feelings about age of consent, which don't really help her case. It was hard to argue against what she was most vocal about. Saving people from the perils of human trafficking. Again, how did she do this? Did she actually save anybody? We've yet to hear anybody, even come up with a fake handle and be like, hey, I don't want to out myself or my story, but Eliza saved me from human trafficking. We haven't heard anybody that she's actually saved or helped yet. Removing CP from Twitter again, like there's proof that it wasn't necessarily her who did this or that it was even handled at all. And seeking to work with big tech to eliminate the ways in which traffickers exploit the victim. Again, we're just talking about she's claiming to have removed a few hashtags from Twitter, which there's no proof of. It was an easy and righteous cause to support. Again, this is why we all fell for it. No one wanted to question her. She seemed like a nice lady. No, usually when you're interviewing somebody, you're not like looking for holes in their story. Or at least I wasn't. Okay, so then this is all about her background. Like her first big issue with Twitter was the 13-year-old minor who begged Twitter to remove a video sexually exploiting him. All right, well, maybe this is an example of somebody she helped. Um, and this was actually something that made Twitter look really bad because they said they're not going to take it down because it didn't like go against their rules, right? Okay, if you Google her, there's articles about her in Post Millennial, Unheard, and Daily Beast. People were pointing out the inconsistencies in her timeline. The thread was damaging, called into question her age. This is all stuff everybody knows at this point. Like, people are going to this article to be like, okay, did you ask her any hard questions? People are not going to this article to read details they already know, but maybe he feels like he's got to set it up for someone who hasn't heard of the story yet. Okay. I talked about all her different last names. See, this would have been the paragraph to bring up Brittany Venti or to bring up quartering or to bring up any of the accounts that had been censored for retweeting images that were public, right? But there is no mention of anybody that was censored. Internet sleuths found all the times she'd been seen on TV and music videos or modeling campaigns, calling into question her timeline of having been a victim of trafficking. If she's done all these shows, maybe Twitter users said she must be in it only for the fame. Everything seemed like a lie. This initial thread culminated in the internet scouring the internet for as much information as possible to prove that she was in fact a fraud. Eventually, this thread attracted those who were once extremely supportive of Eliza to her case. In her case, larger accounts shared the images from the web, her bare ass, and some questions regarding the. And again, why are we not mentioning who was censored here? Like what? Why leave that out if we're doing such a deep dive here? God, I even heard somewhere, and I guess we'll have to see if this is verified, that her parents put up Shane. Her parents, I I don't know, either paid for his travel or paid to I mean, the the property, the farm that Eliza lives on is owned by her father. It's her family's property. It's not her property. And I guess they're still I guess they're still floating her to this day. So it would make sense that her parents would pay for this Shane guy to come out there. I know this is a long ass article. I think there's 80,000 words in this article, so I'm trying to just cover the most exciting parts. The initial response was that these larger accounts were suspended. Again, who? Why not mention the larger accounts that were suspended? The narrative switched from has Eliza been lying this whole time to is she using her contacts within Twitter to censor critics? Eliza had said she would die on the hill of free speech, yet a move like this seemed to many like it was not only clear censorship, but also a more sinister insight into how Twitter 2.0, with Elon at the helm, was operating in the same bad faith with favors for friends. Was Elon dishing out personal help to keep certain names clean? If she was behind the suspensions, then she was an outright hypocrite. A lot of us were worried how sharing something in the digital public square, something that seemed publicly available, could result in a suspension and or ban. The anti-establishment minded on Twitter, who had been reluctantly rejoicing as Elon acquired the platform, were now having flashbacks to Jack Dorsey's Twitter. Okay. Okay. I wonder, it seems like he's keeping his own opinions out of this, but maybe that's his job. His job is to do a journalism and not be like, okay, here's my gut feeling or here's what I think. He's just sort of collecting facts. From the Quad Cities, blah, blah, blah. They met once previously on TimCast where she was like, I love you, Shane. Your work is so important. I feel like you're like Andy Warhol. Like she was kissing his ass. This was only a month ago. A month ago today, she was on TimCast. Oh, yeah. She began the episode by reading statements from women who claimed to be victims of Andrew Tate, but then, like, at the same time, would get cagey when she was asked questions about it. So it's like, well, maybe don't bring it up if you don't want to answer questions. I told her live on the show that I was suspicious of the Me Too movement. Yeah. Her and Tim were critical of her. They were asking critical questions like, well, what do you do if you don't believe somebody? It was absurd to see the court of public opinion to be swayed so easily by just a few accusations with zero proof. Okay. I had just left Ye's place in LA. Wait, what? Why is he talking about Kanye West? Before she and I had met in person, our first official interaction happened in a group chat between Ye, Eliza, and myself. What? How did Kanye West get in the mix here? What the? Did I miss something? I had just left Ye's place in LA. Oh my God, how fancy. He and I spent the weekend discussing, among other things, the shape of his campaign for president. One topic that he kept coming back to was human trafficking. Eliza's name popped into my head when I was in the airport, so I asked for her permission to send her contact to Ye. She obliged, and then Ye started the group chat. Wow. I wonder if he sent Kanye West her World Star Hip Hop video. And I wonder if like every time they open up the group chat, this song plays. That's gonna be my ringtone. I'm gonna put this ringtone on for Eliza's phone number. I mean, not like she would ever talk to me again. She's probably blocked my number at this point, but Uh, it was the way that Eliza responded to the initial text from Ye that gave me pause to go full tilt into accusing her of operating solely out of fame. Wow, okay, this is like maybe the first critical thing he said. I still didn't know her personally at all, nor did I expect the recent accusations. But I think it's worth sharing this despite it being a private interaction. Ye says, Eliza, I got your number from Shane. Let's all stop pornography and sex trafficking. I don't think Eliza wants to stop pornography. Starting with Twitter, Eliza responds, the actual freedom of all people is the most important fight. No public stunt, by the way, and I'm not going to ask for funding or anything. I do everything on my own with an old ass iPhone and God. Oh, really? Oh. E and yay. All right. This is Eliza clearly trying to appeal to Kanye's religious aspects, like his Christianity, right? Kanye's big into God. So now this is when Eliza suddenly is very big into God. It was discussed on TimCast that I would write a profile on her. I agreed to do it. She shared it. She shared it publicly. This is another thing that gives people pause, the fact that she shared it. She has been sharing the other articles about her. And now those that reject her story are using those posts as retroactive proof that I should not be taken seriously as a journalist. And I understand the concern. Twitter users started reposting tweets of me saying nice things about Eliza from about a month prior to the writing of this article, to the clip of me condemning her work and telling her I'm a fan, which was no different than what anyone on most other podcasts had done. But I also had yeah, but Shane, this was, like, a long time ago. A lot of us had her on, like, years ago, whereas you guys had her on 1 month ago. But I also had a lot of questions. However, I try to extend some grace and patience to those who've been attacked by a mob. Alright, that's fair. This is a small collection of some of the criticisms that I received as I prepared to profile Eliza. This is a litmus test for Shane Cashman. He's a knob gobbling fluffer. The internet is watching. Shane is a clown. He is a fluffer boy. This will destroy his career. He has no integrity. He's cringe as fuck. He's got a hard on for any woman who love bombs him because he's never experienced this amount of love. Oh, that's not fair to say. He shouldn't talk to grifters. All of Twitter is watching. He's unprofessional. He's a fiction writer. I don't see the point of putting this in the article unless you're trying to set up like you want the audience to feel bad for you because you've people have come hard for you. Like I would say keep if I were writing this, I would keep it on the focus. Fair enough. I like to say this. I seek to tell in depth stories to the best of my ability. I have many of the same questions you might have, and I report at the pace that suits the answers I collect. So he goes as fast as he wants to, guys. Not gonna let something like timeliness affect how quick you put something out. I try not to peddle knee jerk reactions. I do not participate in the human centipede of tweet. We're reporting. I am not here to fulfill the needs of the algorithm. I do not perform for trends, nor do I perform for the insatiable. I trust my readers will afford me the patience and grace I need to make sense of this story. The accusations are serious. A person's life story, which included traumatic accounts, has been called into question. Outside of that, the world of human trafficking is clearly a disturbing, horrific reality. I must tread with caution. Now I feel, and exactly this is why a lot of people haven't been talking about this because nobody wants to say, oh, you're lying about your abuse or whatever. Now I feel the need to share another private conversation because it seems relevant to the reporting of this story. By the night that Eliza and I were both on IRL, I had also been in talks with Andrew Tate to write a profile on him. I'd spoken with him directly in the days leading up to his arrest in Romania. For those that don't know, he has been accused of human trafficking. Okay, I was like, what does this have to do specifically with Eliza? Hold on, I'm missing some of your supers. I'm just gonna star them so they don't scroll away from me. Dun 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 dun. Such a vibrant thing. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, okay, okay. Wow, you guys are chatting more than usual today. Appreciate it. Okay, back to the story. Okay. Andrew, he'd been talking to Andrew Tate. Okay, perhaps saying this to you now will kill the potential for that story, which I'd still like to write, but it's important for me to say that I would afford Tate the same amount of patience and grace. Who cares? Like I don't see how Andrew Tate is relevant to Eliza at this point. Like he's relevant to her in the very like as of a month ago when she was like, I am now speaking for these Andrew Tate survivors, but Andrew Tate was not in the picture like years and years ago, which is what people are starting to be critical of. But maybe he feels like he's got to bail himself out a little bit. I don't know either of them. After the thread about Eliza's life went viral, her timeline didn't make sense to me either. Wow. I'm sorry I'm yawning. I think it's because I didn't work out this morning. There seemed like major gaps in her story. I'm sure I wasn't alone in having this nightmarish thought experiment. On one hand, I would have preferred she was lying because from the bits of her own story she had shared, I'd rather not want that to happen to anybody. On the other hand, if she was lying, I'd feel personally let down. This is how we all feel right now. I don't believe it should erase the advocacy I've seen her do on Twitter. Yeah, it shouldn't erase all of her important retweeting work, you know. Eliza's done a lot of Twitter work that I don't think we should disregard. Twitter work. But it would make it extremely challenging to take her more seriously moving forward. No matter what, it's challenging to take her seriously moving forward. It doesn't matter what else comes out about her. That's the thing is Eliza had 11 days to address her fans and followers and people and acquaintances. She sat on her ass for 11 days. That would have been her time to say, I was trafficked by World Star Hip Hop. This is the name of my trafficker. This is why I haven't come out with any of this information. But instead, she says, I can't for legal reasons, but then doesn't say what those legal reasons are. All signs, in my opinion, are pointing to she's full of shit and she's trying to like charm her way out. She's trying to use her her different connections and relationships to do damage control right now. Even as I personally struggle with who does and doesn't deserve redemption, and I believe Eliza does deserve redemption if she, I don't know, hits her head on something and suddenly realizes she should be honest. If she were to do a live stream today, I'd be like, "All right." If she's totally honest about and goes through all the things that people have issues with, like, "All right, then let's take it from there. Let's turn a new page." But she's not doing that. If she was exposed as merely a fame whore, I wouldn't be surprised. No real insult to Eliza, but the internet is filled with them. So another joining the ranks wouldn't be the slightest bit shocking. I think what I and most others probably found most egregious, aside from the supposed power she had within Twitter, is that there was a possibility of Eliza really could have propped up victims to gain fame and money. But again, the current economy deals in the currency of victimhood. We're all numb to the grift. Okay, and now as we were supposedly on the edge of clear annihilation, according to some grim-faced scientists, I had Eliza on the phone who didn't seem as anxious as I felt. I don't see how this is relevant. I had questions. Also, like, she's a master manipulator. Of course, she's not going to seem anxious. She probably had her whole phone call with him, like, written out in advance, what she was going to say to him. I had questions, as she promised I could ask anything. It seems like I was flying to Illinois to interrogate someone about either the darkest lies someone could tell or the darkest experiences someone could go through. My goal was to establish a timeline in Eliza's words, because we can trust those now, right, guys? And then cross reference that with the timeline that is featured in the thread that went viral. Either Eliza's built an elaborate story for profit or she was telling the truth and we got the whole thing wrong. Neither seemed to be the easy answer. My distrust points in all directions. Either she was the Jussie Smollett of anti establishment Twitter, or somehow all of anti establishment Twitter had become the Jussie Smollett of victim blaming. Yeah, okay, it's our fault. Yeah, okay. All of us got it wrong. Even me, somebody who wanted to believe her and had her on the show 4 fucking times. Sure, let me be the Jussie Smollett of victim blaming. Okay. Eliza picked me up in her father's car, and we drove to the world's largest truck stop, Iowa 80, a 24-hour truck utopia. Oh, can we not use this word? The word utopia is ruined for me. I don't know about you guys, but Eliza has ruined the word utopia. Because I just imagine a bunch of priests, rabbis, teachers deciding when underage kids can have sex. Because that's, if you watch the Liberty Lockdown episode, she talks about that. Is a restaurant, bottomless supply of cowboy hats. She seemed oddly positive because she was a sex worker. That's like saying, "Wow, that stripper was really charming." Of course she's going to be positive. She's trying to charm you, Shane. She wore a heavy black Tesla winter coat. Where is she getting Tesla coats from? What the fuck? Like, well, gee, I don't know. I don't know if we can prove that she got a free Tesla. This to me is even more of a smoking gun. Like, anybody can buy a Tesla, but can anybody get a Tesla coat? I think that's just for insiders. Dude, or maybe he put this detail in there so that we could come to that conclusion. If this girl's tearing around in a Tesla coat, you know what I mean? We can't buy a Tesla coat. Who knows? Maybe it came in the trunk of the Tesla car. Maybe the car came with a lot of other merch. I don't know. It'd be funny if he was like, she took off the coat to reveal Tesla lingerie. Really, I thought of all the coats this woman could wear, of all days, she chose a Tesla coat. Oh, look at that. That's funny. It was 7 degrees and she said it was her only warm coat. Yeah, okay. I later asked how she got it. All my Tesla gear was given to me by a friend. He worked for Tesla. We have known each other for 2 years before all this happened. What? Okay. I should talk to Gary about this because Gary used to work for Nerdrotic. Let me ask if Gary ever got a Tesla coat. My old winter coat was finished. I pulled out the Tesla coat this year because it's what I have. Again, she's trying to make it seem like, oh, she's so broke. Meanwhile, she lives in her dad's house on a huge property with a farm. Clearly, he's letting her use his cars, like still floating her. So I'm not buying the whole like, oh, I don't have anything. She was looking at her phone, reading an email. The Babylon Bee had notified her that they canceled an event that they had planned to do together. Oh, no. I didn't know about this. Does anybody know about the Babylon Bee event? Yeah, she still can't afford Wi Fi. Where was the Babylon Bee event supposed to be? And does anybody know when it was supposed to be? Interesting, though. Okay. So, wow. That's interesting. She's already getting canceled from events. It's heartbreaking, she said. I needed my Christian brothers. I'm so pissed that they would cancel. Oh, please. Blow it out your ass, Eliza. You're so Christian. Okay. You're Christian when you need to be. She had a slightly darker tone in her voice than she had since the last time we spoke. Well, I guess I'm the guy that talks to the people the rest of society rejects. Oh my God, you're such a martyr, Eliza. You're so Christ like. You know who also talked to society's rejects? Jesus. And I think she knows that. I think she's saying that for a reason. In a sense, that's you right now on Twitter. Ugh. Ugh. Wow. So much self-sacrifice coming from Eliza Bleu. She really just cares about everybody else. There was mostly small talk on the way to get food. We discussed her childhood, being homeschooled, how she and her family, including her younger sister, had moved from Quad Cities to Denver and back. They were eating together. Sheen was alerted by colleagues via text that some people have announced her father's personal address, both home and office, and were claiming to be on their way to film the location. I was going to be staying at her parents' house for the duration of my visit. Are you reading Twitter? I asked, referring to the barrage of comments about her life, all the images. Everyone who'd done anything with her had been getting tagged and everything too. Friends are telling me that my silence is making everything worse, she said. Right now, people don't want to hear anything from me. There's literally nothing I could say. What could I say? There's so much you could say, Eliza. Nothing I will do will appease everybody. Why? Because you know that we're right? I can't be too mean. I can't be too nice. So many people have had their minds made up. I don't know. If I feel like I'm misunderstood on the internet, I fucking can't shut up about it. That's just me. I don't like being misunderstood. Even if it's clunky, even if I put out a video and no one sees it, it's like I personally don't like to be misunderstood. So it feels strange that Eliza's almost like, what are you gonna do? Like it's almost like she's okay with it. Like, why are you not fighting for your life, for your reputation? Like everything depends on it. And she doesn't seem to want to fight right now. That's true, I said, wondering how the fuck I was going to navigate this story. I was hesitant even to ask her about this. I would either be exposing her total lie or perhaps I would be making her relive some deeply troubled trauma. Again, you don't become a public figure whose whole shtick is sex trafficking if you're not willing to also sign up for reliving your own story. Okay. The waitress brought us our what did you order, Shane? Tell me what you guys ordered. She got the French onion soup and I got minestrone. I asked how she defined human trafficking. Force, fraud, or coercion. Again, you can just read off a website definition because that's kind of what Eliza says. Force, fraud, or coercion for the sale or of labor or sex. Anyone under the age of 18 engaging in any commercial sexual activity for goods, services, or money is a victim of human trafficking. She rattled it off quickly. Yeah, because it's her elevator pitch. Under 18, she said, is automatically a victim if they're engaging in commercial sex. That's not a question. There's no gray area. I met him when I was 15. Where? A concert out here? Who was he? A photographer. Can you name him? I can't. Why? Legal reasons. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Time to get back on the plane and head home. We're going to come back to that, I said. I knew she wasn't going to name names. She said so much to me on TimCast, and I had insisted multiple times that naming names would be one of the best ways to clear her own, and it would allow me and other journalists to do more digging. The lack of the name, the lack of this transparency doesn't help. Why don't you explain what the legal reasons are then, Eliza, if you can't name the name? Why did you leave for LA? Once I had my permit, I was out of here. No, we know for a fact that her mother drove her to LA the first time. Was this a relationship with the older guy? He groomed me. Groomed me how? Yeah. How did he groom you pre-social media? How did he groom you in what, 1996? 1998 or something like that? 15, 17 years old, pre-social media? What is he writing letters to you? Finding out my vulnerabilities. What would make me leave my family and come out to LA? But how was he communicating with you? Was he calling you on the phone? He knew exactly what to say. I was probably the easiest mark they ever had. Again, like anyone can say this, right? Anyone can Google like what makes a victim. Tell us how y'all were talking. Was he talking sexually with you as well? No. It was all about the dream world, the opportunities. But how was he telling you about these opportunities, Eliza? Again, letters, phone calls, promises of a career. 15 when I met him, 17 when I moved to LA. Yeah, but she went and visited before she moved to LA. Her mother drove her out there. How did you pull that shit? It sounds like it was gonna be an opportunity for the daughter. How'd you get to LA? My dad moved me out there, but that first trip, Eliza, your mother drove you out there. But I think she's avoiding that. She could probably tell, but I was watching for any body language and eye movement that would seem like she's conjuring up a fiction. I had made a plan to ask her the same questions repeatedly over the next few days. Eliza said she moved to LA when she's 17. Her parents set her up with an apartment. Must be nice. And within 2 days was trafficked. This is where I guess I get some of the story messed up. I said, is there a switch in the guy at this moment? The photographer introduces me to the musician. I asked for names again. She refused. Ugh, okay. Are the photographer and musician together? Are they a team? Do you think I know that? She said with some hostility. Ugh, okay. You would know their relationship if one is introducing you to the other. Sounds like a lie. Sounds like she wants to avoid this question immediately. It happened within 48 hours of moving to LA. She said she recognized the musician the moment she met him. This is West Hollywood we're talking about, she said. I had just been to Hollywood, and it seemed like the kind of city where dreams and nightmares coexist. Again, this is all like her fucking one woman show monologue. She distracts from personal questions, transactional questions, details about her life by talking about like general themes of abuse and taking advantage of somebody. She's very good at this. I went over to the musician's place. I don't remember if he came and picked me up, but I'm sure he probably did. We went over there, hanging out, had some beer. That's when everything went downhill. He handed me something to smoke. Apparently, she smoked crystal meth right away. How can you be, even if you're homeschooled, like, how can you be this stupid to think that if someone's giving you drugs, that means all your dreams are going to come true? Ugh. Like, wouldn't your mother, the dean, and your father, the politician, be able to explain this to you? I don't know. And the fact that she didn't tell her boyfriend at the time about any of this abuse or trafficking is very suspect because she was dating the same guy basically from 95 to '04. Exactly. Yeah. How did they communicate? If she was 15 or 16 years old at the time, that placed the communication in 1996. There was no media, no social media at this time. There were no sock accounts. There was no Snapchat. There was no back pages. Like, again, if you communicated through what, fucking Craigslist? Could you say that? That is something I hope Shane answers or asks her here is how the fuck were they in touch before she moved? And then how were they in touch after she moved? Let's say she's in LA. Okay, was it phones at this point? Was it texting? Like, give us some details, yo. Did you feel any sense of dread being away from your family? I was in the dream world, blah, blah, blah. Again, this is all so easy for her to say. I didn't even know the world was evil. I was a sheltered, homeschooled girl with a shaved head. No, her head wasn't shaved then. It was just short, like pixie cut. You didn't learn about evil from church? I asked. Understood that her father went to seminary school. I did not understand what evil was until LA. Then why wouldn't she like immediately move back home or ask for help? Look, here's her in front of her family's barn to make her look wholesome and relatable. Is it working yet, guys? Was that your first relationship? I asked. No. Was he violent? He wasn't violent. But I'm kind of grateful I was drinking and on drugs. At the time, I was really thin because I was modeling, so I didn't have any meat on my bones. A little alcohol really messed me up. I was lightweight. Oh, and one day he basically told me, "I'm gonna sell you for drugs." I was in the room when he brokered the deal. He called the guy. I don't know if it was planned out in advance or whatever. I don't know. I'm assuming this is a thing they did. Then why didn't you all right, did you not have a phone on you, Eliza? No, it was 96. I mean, I didn't have a cell phone till 2004. Like, what's the earliest someone could have had a cell phone? I think if you're moving to LA, you should probably try to have a cell phone if they're available, right? And your parents are floating you anyway. could ask them to pay for a cell phone. Like, and if she had a cell phone, why wouldn't she have immediately called 911 or the cops at that point? And you considered this a relationship? I probably would have thought that, but I wasn't used to having male relationships. But she had a boyfriend at the time. She had a boyfriend, the guy who took her virginity in what, 95? She actually was 15. He was 14 at the time that he took her virginity. So she currently had a boyfriend at the time that she is saying that all this is going on. So this sounds like a lie. Did sex come into place before all this? It was clear that there was no choice. The thing is, like, I hadn't come from that. That wasn't a part of my lifestyle. But see, her boyfriend at the time took her virginity at 15. Her boyfriend at the time was 14. So she had already, unless this is like before that, when he called the buyer, were you thinking anything like, what the fuck is this phone call? No, I was just told we needed more drugs. So we're going to sell you. And I was like, holy shit, I'm a child prostitute. I was embarrassed. I knew immediately. I would never tell anyone about this. I don't know. I think if you're that young and you have something traumatic like this happen to you, you're going to tell somebody. The musician dropped her off at a house in West Hollywood Hills. Can you describe this man, the buyer? Old, fat, ugly guy. I could probably recreate pieces of his room. It's weird what your brain remembers. Oh, yeah. It's so weird when your brain selectively doesn't remember shit that would make you sound legitimate. His bed was red, not blood red. He had a red blanket. It was a really nice place. There were multiple people there. All right, guys. Old man with a red blanket. You know what to do, internet. Were they there for you too? Not for me. They came and went. Lots of drugs and alcohol. How long were you there? I can't say. Maybe days, a week. Were you on drugs? I asked. Thank God. Yes. It was not a pleasant experience. It was scary. I don't know what particularly happened, but I think I started to kick a little bit. I think I became a problem. I wasn't eating. I wasn't drinking. I believe I had an overdose, and that saved my life. This happens because this happens sometimes with victims. I was left for dead, but I survived. I thought it was my fault. I woke up in Cedars-Sinai, no friends out there. The nurse treating me told me she treated Kurt Cobain once and that he and I have the same eyes. He died a few years earlier. That moment eventually would keep me sober. Oh, come on. This is like a one-woman show. Maybe she's just gassing me up to make me feel better, but it gave me confidence. Why would that give you confidence comparing you to somebody who also did a lot of drugs and died early? How did you get back home? Man, this girl lives for name dropping. She fucking lives for it. How did you get back home? My parents bought a plane ticket. Somehow they knew. They knew because your mother drove you out there. She doesn't know anything else about it. When my dad dropped me off in LA, I think I had blonde hair. And when I arrived back here, I had jet black hair. Everything I brought home was in a trash bag. My parents didn't recognize me. Yeah, because I think it's because you dyed your hair black to fit in with the My Chemical Romance crew, right? The people that really hate you are demanding these details, I said. As no one hates Eliza. I think people just feel disappointed and hurt in her lies. Hate is a strong word. Um, okay. It's like gore porn, Eliza said, referring to the gruesome details that many are saying they need to hear from her to believe any trafficking took place. Really? Gore porn? Just by naming the guy's name? I don't think that's too ridiculous. They're hitting me up, wanting to know if my vagina is ripped. Yeah, right. Let's see the screenshot of someone asking this, and then I'll believe you. A part of me hopes you are lying because I want none of this to be true. She went back to recalling uh, what she could of the overdose. Everybody's got stuff that's happened to them, she said. I was lying in bed last night thinking about all of this. I'm just so grateful I'm still alive. So, like, it is bad. Yes. But, like, bro, think about how much life I've had since then. I'm so grateful. Again, she's like literally trying to distract and make it about something else. Like, I did so much dope shit. I think she felt like she had to say something positive because my face was as grim as the scientist. Why does he keep bringing up the doomsday clock? So, do you remember anything leading up to Or after the overdose, I asked. I guess it started in the buyer's house, and then they dropped me in the musician's hallway. I'm surprised they even called anyone. They were probably like, "We aren't gonna deal with this dead girl." I don't believe a word of this. A lot of people who've been looking into your past are asking themselves how this could happen to a daughter of a politician. It looks like she had a nice family. That's the most disgusting insult, she said. You can be a survivor and be other things, like rich. You can have a family. She doesn't have her own family. She is the daughter of someone. She doesn't have kids. She's not married. Like most people have parents that they came from. A lot of survivors I know are married, have kids. It's not like you're a survivor and that's all you are. Oh my God. That's not what people are saying. People are saying that you came from money. So they're trying to figure out like you're not the typical survivor that does things, makes poor choices for money. I could be fully in trauma, probably on disability, just rotting away, still off the LA experience. That's why I'm like, at this point, I don't care what people say. Listen to what I survived. That's crazy. Again, like, this is so general. She is, like, distracting from the point, from the question that he's asking. Like, why didn't you reach out to your parents at any point during this time? She mentioned how anyone from any status with any type of family can fall victim to trafficking. Later, she told me she thinks the buyer dyed her hair black to make her look like a boy. I don't know. I think boys still have blonde hair, so I'm not buying this either. I think that's what they were into, she said. She said that she believes that there were trans kids in that house as well. Were you sold multiple times? I asked. My first trafficking experience was short, she said. Just that one time. What was it like when you got home? I asked. I forgot how to write. I had to learn how to write again. English was another language. I was so fucked up that I didn't know how to order food at a restaurant. What? I don't believe this. I was so fucked up that I stayed sober for 8.5 years just because I was terrified. I was so fucked up that I never told anyone and promised myself I would never tell anyone because I was so traumatized. I was so fucked up that I've been trying to remember how I got to the airport. I don't know if the trafficker drove me, if a police officer drove me, if I drove my own car. I can't believe I'm alive after that. The drug overdose didn't kill me. The traffickers didn't kill me. The sex abuse didn't kill me. That was also the time when HIV was still making its rounds pretty heavily, but during that time, it would have been a big concern. The fact that I survived and it didn't come out with HIV, I can't believe it. She had no mental strength after she got home. I'm sorry, I'm not none of this is like making me feel anything. And I'm somebody who cries like over almost nothing. Like I cry at movies, you're not supposed to cry. None of this is like pulling at my heartstrings. Sorry, Eliza. Um the story's making him feel sick. Okay. When I'm talking to other survivors, we laugh, we joke. Again, she's making it about someone else now. She's distracting from her. She came back to the Quad Cities after LA. I detoxed here. I was a mess. I don't remember going to the airport, blah, blah, blah. Her parents picked me up from the same airport that Eliza picked me up from. She spent more than a week in bed. She wasn't talking, hardly eating. Yeah, I heard from her ex-boyfriend that either when she was in LA or got back from LA that she was supposedly she told him that she was taking these, weight loss pills that supposedly had tapeworms in them. This is what she was telling her boyfriend at the time, that she was like that you could actually take a pill with a tapeworm in it, and it would open up, and you'd have a fucking tapeworm, and that's how she's claimed that she was getting thin at around this LA time. That sounds a little cray. I don't know if such a thing even exists. I gotta call that boyfriend again, that ex-boyfriend. Okay, I guess Shane had arranged to speak with her parents and thought I'd ask how they dealt with that. Whether or not you, reader, are believing Eliza, perhaps she put herself in a bad situation. Perhaps you don't believe she was trafficked and sold for sex and drugs. But even if the overdose is the only thing that's real, her parents then would have seen a destroyed version of their young daughter. And I had a hard time putting myself in their shoes without putting up a fight to prevent her return to LA. My kids are young, and I know that parents through hell Went through hell when I was 17, 18, 19. Nothing could have stopped me then. Two, despite all the nightmares waiting for me with open arms. I shared my concern about how and why she would return to LA. I'm sitting here like, this is like literally so textbook, she said. Oh, how convenient. Her story is so textbook. What you're witnessing is full textbook abuse after the first attacking, trafficking. I came home. When I went back to LA, I called him. He would not talk to me. The musician, I asked. Yes, he wouldn't talk to me. He just told me to go to AA. Okay, so is this Gerard Way? What other musician was she hanging around when she was, 15, 16, 17? Why would you go back to him? I don't know. That's crazy. I didn't want to miss the opportunity. What was the opportunity? Being a rock star. That's why I came out there. I wanted to be a model. So wait, did you want to be a rock star or a model or both? So you won't name names. Can you say it's a famous person? I asked. There are people involved in my story that are very high profile. Maybe they aren't a household name, but I think if and when it all comes out, people will be like, oh, wow. You go back to him and see him after the phone call, I asked. I didn't see him physically. I just called him. Did you go to AA? I went to AA in Chinatown. I believed it was on a Monday. The meeting itself was called Chinatown. It was in West Hollywood. I thought I had been a child prostitute, she said. Is that what you considered yourself? Until I was in my 30s, I didn't even know about trafficking. That wasn't in my language at all. My first advocate is the one who told me she believed I had been trafficked once I told her my story. I had no language. I thought I was the one that was committing crimes. At the time, I thought, "Oh, I'm an addict." I wasn't thinking about the trafficking. I was just thinking, "I just have a drug and alcohol problem." I remember I tried to tell my first AA sponsor what happened with the guys in LA. It was still on my spirit. It was still in my heart. I was very young. Did the man in LA who sold you get in trouble? I don't know, and I haven't looked. I almost thought about looking right before you came out here, but I can't. What keeps you from looking? I asked. Why go back? She said, well, if you don't want to go back, Eliza, you shouldn't become an advocate because you're going to be constantly asked questions. Wouldn't you find some type of solace knowing he was in jail? Or I don't think he's alive. Oh, okay. Conveniently, he's dead now. Great. But you could be out there preventing others from getting hurt by them if he's still alive. Ugh, this is so bullshitty to me. Her whole story. The LA stuff is in the past. Stop asking me questions about LA. Sometimes there are provisions where if it's like over 10 years, simply accusing someone with no evidence, it would not end well for me. Yeah, I think this is like one of the first true things I've heard her say. If you accuse someone with no evidence, it would not end well for me. And when I say no evidence, I mean like no evidence. Like I have no evidence for this first story. Okay. So it would like literally be the most he said, she said. No one's going to be like, you know what? Yep, she's right. And this is why, folks, she has not named her traffickers. She has no evidence. And it would be, she could get in trouble. Maybe that's what she means when she says legal reasons, that she could legally get so screwed over if she were to name like a Gerard Way or some photographer. Because they could probably sue her and being like, no, bitch, no one trafficked you. When people read this and they don't trust you, they will say you are making this shit up. I said, most of this is going to run off faith in me as a writer, but on you too. I could lie to you right now and say he's so and so. I could lie to you right now and say he's dead. You literally just said he might be dead. I could lie to you right now and say he's in jail, she said. It would have been more advantageous for me to lie. Oh my God. Projection much? It would have sounded better if I could lie, but I told you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I know what the haters are going to say, but I'm telling you the truth. My God, why does she have to say it so many times? Is it because she's lying? I think people not hearing a name means that you must be keeping things vague to keep the story straight. The problem is sometimes when you let things fester, you start drinking, doing drugs, getting into abusive relationship. Again, she is distracting from the point. Ugh. I'm gonna work in the shadows. She's obviously keeping it vague for a reason. Okay, and then they talk about the piece that Daily Wire did about her, COVID lockdown. Again, now she's very comfortable talking about things that are not about her and her timeline and her details. Oh, is this recently? Did, Amanda Prestigiacomo recently comment about Eliza? Is this true? Let me see if I can pull up her Twitter. What is her handle? Amanda Presto? Um, Has she tweeted about this recently? No. Huh. I look at Amanda Presto's tweets and replies. I don't see anything since 2020. And I'm looking at her tweets. Maybe I have to follow her to see them. Weird. I can't really see her tweets. Okay. Well, Eliza came to me during the pandemic was serious, worried about abuse trafficking. Her concern was always with others. She had so much knowledge about how to address this vital issue, otherwise largely ignored. I asked her to include her name and photo because I thought it would bring more attention to the issue, and it did. I don't regret asking her to do so. She's one of the fiercest fighters I know. I'm told she's now being targeted personally, right as she's helping Elon fight child exploitation on Twitter. Strange timing. This was Presti Giacomo's previously tweeted about this, her decision to use her name. Okay. Uh, Eliza and Presti Giacomo also direct message each other about the conversation. These are screenshot from the conversation. You didn't even want to tell your story. You wanted to help others and get out as much info as possible. You didn't want to make it about you, right? Because her details are shady. I thought your name and face would help bring more attention. I've literally told everyone from day one that I wanted to be famous. My parents knew that when I was a little girl. She said she's already seen levels of fame, I believed, referencing her past doing hair and makeup with bands like My Chemical Romance and covers for Spin Magazine, something we will get into later in the conversation. I want people to remember this, she told me. If you look through my history, I've never had trouble hanging around famous people. When I became a survivor advocate, I had a fully popping Instagram. Like, that was just sitting there once I got back control of it. I wish I had a fully popping Instagram. I believe she's referencing her relationship to Gerard Way, the singer of My Chemical Romance, as well as how her Instagram was stolen from her years later, well after her relationship with Gerard. A lot of people are seeing you in various videos looking happy or calling your mom to see how proud she is of you being in a music video. Are these things proof that you are only doing it for the fame? What do you think people are missing about you? Well, number one, I don't think people understand human trafficking. Even though you can just Google it. Again, she's distracting from the question at hand here. Um, yeah, she's like literally not addressing it. But the other piece that they don't understand is abuse or abuse situations. Like, quite frankly, you, Shane, could be my trafficker, or I could be your trafficker. We're at a truck stop and we could be going somewhere and looking like we're having a lovely conversation. And you and I could leave here and get in the car. Like, again, she's distracting with hypothetical situations. He is asking her to talk about this video of her to her mom about being proud of being in a music video, and now she is distracting and talking about how trafficking can happen. Then he asks her about the clip of the Michael Malice podcast where you seem to give this definition of trafficking as though it's just catfishing. No, she said, that case is very nuanced, and I should have never brought it up on his program because, in retrospect, that's beyond what this is what she does. When she's called out on some bullshit, she's like, oh, well, the general population can't comprehend this. We're all too stupid to understand how trafficking really works, guys. But I can try my best to unpack it right now. Her former abuser had access to her Instagram. I did not always have access to it. He had a lot of accounts in my name. Yeah, that's called catfishing. That's called just stolen identity. I mean, I have fake Instagram accounts that people make of me, fake Twitter accounts. It's very common. His goal was to make money wherever he thought he could make money, and hustle was where he was like. So, like, literally in the beginning of that Malice interview, I gave an actual definition of what trafficking is. I go over the whole thing. Yeah, but then I just feel like she goes into this whole Instagram, Twitter profile thing, and that's where she can't keep track of her shit. Okay. Blah blah blah, all these old accounts. Again, I think these are just her. She's had so many different names, right? I think it's possible she had a different account for every different version of her personality. And again, like, she can say, "Oh, I contacted Jack Dorsey. He wouldn't pull." Is Jack Dorsey really gonna come out with his screenshots from his alleged conversation with Eliza? No, I don't think. He's not. He's just so big that it's like there's no way to get proof of this conversation with Jack Dorsey and her. So she can just say anything, I think. Um, she said the abuser made it so that her Twitter would redirect to her Instagram, which he had control of. Again, like, that's still just online accounts. That's not trafficking. Sometimes I still find dating profiles of me. I didn't set those dating bullshit. Of course you set them up. You were doing sex work. You were literally escorting. You literally asked a friend of yours to get into escorting with you. You said Carly Wenzel could make $500. So obviously there's something nefarious going on. Oh my God, she's so full of it. So with Twitter, there was no way to report human trafficking. It's like she creates an excuse. She's got a buffer for any possible thing that could come out about her. That's what she's doing. There are people rejoicing. Eh, who could that be? There are people rejoicing now in how many Twitter followers you're losing. I could lose thousands of followers. I don't care, she said. I could have 5 followers on Twitter. I don't care. It's just Twitter. It could all go away tomorrow. Yeah, okay. I love Elon Musk, but we weren't friends previously. It's not that I wouldn't be. It's just that we really just met on Twitter Spaces. We've never met in person. He's so busy that there isn't time to become friends, even if he desired a friendship. Same goes for trust and safety, Ella Irwin. We met on Spaces, but we haven't met in person. Yeah, yeah. You don't need to meet in person to like literally censor people on your behalf. We got confirmation the address had been doxed. I don't like that, but again, like, this information is all public. Someone doesn't need to dox it for you to find it. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they come to the house while you're here, she said, but the way the laws are, they can't loiter. I had arranged to talk with her parents in the morning. I wanted to hear their side of everything that Eliza had told me that night. Eliza drove up the long, narrow country road back to her house, which she had told me her parents let her live in. Must be nice. I felt like I was standing on the moon. It seemed as though I was the farthest I could possibly be in the United States from the tech giants. Even still, Twitter was very much present in the vast and cold fields in nowhere, Illinois. It felt as though all of the internet was an anvil or a satellite orbiting close above, monitoring my every move. Wow. What a beautiful piece. Very flowery, very like artistically written, I guess. BYB podcast. Keep exposing this story. Good work, team. Wow. This chat is active today. You guys are fired up. I love it. The breakdown with Greg Hoyt. Oh, what's up, Greg? I have yet to get my PR firm paycheck. Lol. I'm still waiting for mine too, Greg. Patrick T. Sick. Alex Stein on Eliza. That might be fun. Well, Alex is busy getting his new show together at Blaze. She's still lying about the accounts she was using as a yes. This is what I've always thought. She's lying about the accounts, using it as a cover for her other Twitter and Instagram accounts. Abso-fucking-lutely, Breezen. I agree with you. 100%. So it's like he covered it a little bit and people go, "Oh, you waited too long." It's John Bro. Thanks for the super chat. While I agree that you can't make someone cover a story, he's entirely funded by his audience, the majority of which wanted him to cover it. Why is this FS advocate defending censorship? What do you mean? What does FS mean? Am I stupid to not know what that stands for? I think he was put in an impossible situation. I think he was waiting for more details to come out, but then he ended up waiting too long. So then it got to the point where he was damned if he didn't, damned if he did. But I think he didn't at the time because Cassandra's very good friends with Eliza. So I understand. I understand why. That's like a conflict of interest. You don't want to. And he could also think he's saying that it's just not big enough of a story. It's just not worldly enough, not worth his time. He mentioned, he just wants to focus on like saving the world, making the world a better place. I think he mentioned he's having a few congressmen or senators. Shit, I'll have to go back and listen again. On his show next Wednesday. So maybe he's just focused on like what he thinks are more important subjects. But not me. I love this shit. No. So yeah. Oh, hi, Muffin. Oh, hi, Muffin. Hello. It's Muffin. Muffin, hi. Hi, Muffin. Hi. Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Love you, get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.